Hello everyone! Now I have an assorted array of topics that I want to make videos on. But this video needs to stand on its own and it will probably be long enough as it is. First, I would like to say that those who follow me on social media, mainly Twitter, may have noticed my last tweet was about a break from social media for a while. Others might have noticed my absence a bit. Being an avid tweeter with many tweets per day, some would be curious to why I don't reply or tweet something. Now the main reason for this break is a small depression brought on to no small degree of stress. I will go over what stress is in this video, and I will deal with depression in another video. And I will explain in this video how I have decided to deal with my stress. Perhaps some of my ideas can be used for others that might feel similarly at this point in time, or later on. Now, on to the meat of the video. Whoops! I hope I didn't trigger any vegans by that statement. Right. Stress. What is it? And is it always bad? No, stress can be good in a small dose administered every so often. It can help you produce things, it can help you focus, and it can be a big motivator to be your best when it really counts. So there is positive stress as well. The body goes into fight or flight mode when it's put under stress. In fight or flight mode, stress hormones are released into the body. They're among adrenaline and cortisol. This helps the body to react quickly to whatever the threat may be. The heart rate increases, muscles are tightened, your blood pressure is elevated, you breathe faster, and all of your senses are hypersensitive. All of these things help to make you react quicker, be stronger, more focused, and have more energy to do more under pressure. Sounds good, doesn't it? It can be a huge problem though. Huge. If it is a constant stress. The body is not sure if it's a mental or a physical threat, so it always goes into fight or flight mode when under stress. So a big argument with a friend is treated the same way by the body as if someone is holding a gun on you. The same reaction occurs in both instances. That is, of course, if you're feeling stressed about your argument with your friend. And if your body is put into this state so often, it gets harder and harder to turn it off, or turn it around, whichever you want to use. This can lead to some serious health issues. Constant stress wreaks havoc on almost every system in your body. The immune system takes a beating, making you more susceptible to illnesses. Your digestive system takes a toll, from no appetite to ulcers. Being able to perform sexually can also be affected. For men it can be impotence, and for women it can be not feeling any lust at all, or unable to have an orgasm. Other serious things are increased, like the risks for strokes and heart attacks, and it can also speed up the aging process. The brain can also be rewired, which will make you more susceptible to anxiety, depression, and a host of other mental issues. Now here are some health issues that prolonged stress can cause or worsen. Depression and anxiety, pain of any kind, sleep problems, autoimmune diseases, digestive problems, skin conditions such as eczema, heart disease, weight problems, reproductive issues, thinking and memory problems. There are signs of overexposure of stress and also symptoms that can discern if it is stress related. And the symptoms are very important to pay attention to. Most people in this day and age are more or less under constant stress without realizing it. It becomes mundane, it becomes part of daily life. Then it hits you like a ton of bricks. Whew, damn, that was a lot of bricks. Thankfully the Force is a powerful ally. Now, here are some symptoms to watch out for. Cognitive symptoms. memory problems, inability to concentrate, poor judgment, seeing only the negative, anxious and racing thoughts, and constant worrying. Now, the emotional symptoms are depression or general unhappiness, anxiety or agitation, moodiness, irritability, or anger, the feeling of being overwhelmed, loneliness and isolation, and other mental or emotional health problems. There are also physical symptoms: aches and pains, diarrhea and constipation, nausea and dizziness, chest pain, a rapid heart rate, loss of sex drives, or frequent colds or flu. There are also behavioral symptoms: eating more or eating less, sleeping too much or too little, withdrawing from others, procrastinating or neglecting one's responsibilities, using alcohol, cigarettes, or drugs to relax, nervous habits such as nail biting, pacing, twitching legs. So, what causes the stress then? Now, I will make a more detailed description of my own stress at the end of the video, so this will be in general terms at the start. The pressures and instances that causes stress are called stressors. Most of the time, we see them as something very negative, but there are positive events that are also stressors, like buying a house, for instance, getting promoted, attending college, getting married. Wait, no. I think that last one might be negative as well. Naturally, not all stress has an agent. Sometimes it's internal and self-generated. Usually when having an unfounded negative view of life or constantly worrying about things that may or may not happen. This can cause an internal stress. So, what really causes stress? That is extremely individual. Some instances that causes you an abundance of stress may not even faze someone else. Hell, they might even like it. For some, it could be something like getting up in the morning. Some people hate it and worry about it to the point that they have trouble sleeping at night. Others jump out of bed in the morning ready to start the day. Here are some external agents of stress that are common: major life changes, work or school related issues, relationship difficulties, financial problems, being too busy, and children and family. And when it comes to internal causes, here are some more common ones: pessimism, inability to accept uncertainty, rigid thinking, lack of flexibility, negative self-talk, unrealistic expectations, perfectionism, an all or nothing attitude. So when does the stress become too much? Well, get to know yourself, and more importantly, realize your limitations. The fracture point is highly individual. Some people seem to roll with whatever life tosses in their way, while others seem to crumble at every hurdle that is in front of them. Some people even thrive in a high-stress lifestyle. So how do we affect our stress levels in a good way? What helps? Well, we have your support network. Your friends and family is one of the best buffers against stress. When you have people to depend upon who have your back no matter what, life's obstacles do not seem so daunting. On the other hand, if a person is lonely and isolated, they can view life's obstacles as insurmountable, and the risk of getting stress-related symptoms increase. This is of course if you're not a loner and thrive while being alone, because to some people having other people around can be a big stressor. Your sense of control, building up your self-confidence and your ability to handle events and surpass them will make it a lot easier to handle stress in the future. The downside of this, of course, is that if you feel that you have no control of your life whatsoever and that you're just being tossed around by your environment and random happenings, and you're unable to affect them in the slightest, it will most likely knock you on your ass and make you paralyzed from the amount of stress. Your outlook on life is definitely also a factor in your ability to handle stress. If you look at the glass as half full in most situations and with hope, you will be less vulnerable to stress. People who are stress hardy usually grows with challenge. In general, they have a stronger sense of humor and they tend to accept that challenges and changes are an integral part of life and that these changes must happen. Dealing with your own emotions. No matter how people want to portray themselves, almost all people are full of emotions. But if you don't know how to handle your emotions, and how to calm yourself down when you're angry, or how to cope with being sad or afraid, then you will be more likely to become stressed and agitated. Identifying your emotions and how to deal with them is an important part of increasing your stress tolerance and from bouncing back from hardships. I have left a few links in the description on how to deal with emotions, along with some self-help guides to deal with stress. I highly recommend that you look at them. I would include the info here, but I think this video will be long enough as it is. What you know and how to prepare. Knowing what to expect during certain situations and for how long you will be in a certain situation always helps, and it makes it easier to deal with the stress. For instance, if you are going to your in-laws, who you hate, for Christmas, knowing how long you will be there and what to expect makes it easier to deal with the stress even if you don't feel like being there. A warning here though. Many people use various forms of drugs, alcohol, or other substances to deal with stress. In general, this is a very bad way of dealing with stress for two major reasons. First one is of course that if you feel stress a lot and you drink or do drugs every time you feel stressed, then you could fall into alcoholism or an addiction to said drugs. That in itself can cause even more stress and affect your life very negatively. The second part is that using drugs or alcohol in general puts your body directly into stress mode. It's a toxin, and the body feels the need that it needs to be removed, and the body reacts as if everything can be hazardous to your health, or even lethal. So using it as a stress coping mechanism doesn't work. Instead, it fuels the stress and creates a vicious cycle. And now back to my own personal story about my stress and how I've planned to deal with it. Being a content creator is never easy. The stress is always there, even more so for those who make videos more often than I do. But then again, I have another full-time job I have to cope with. The fact that I'm a single father also plays a huge part in this. Now, there are plenty of the things that I have listed in this video that fits me in my current state. My stress set off a depression. It has also affected my sleep. But that in itself is probably part of me working nights in general. While memory issues has always been a problem for me, they seem to have increased somewhat of late, and that could also be a result of the stress. I've also had problems with focusing on a task at hand, and I will be getting more into that later. Racing thoughts and constant worrying is easy to do when doing what we content creators do. It's just too damn easy just to look at all the negative and hurtful shit going on in the world and get a negative outlook on life. We humans seem to be drawn to misery and hurtful things, it seems. It permeates the news. No matter what source or inclination of the media, left or right doesn't matter. Sometimes I just feel like I want to create a happy news media, just to get a little balance. Perhaps it could be a future channel of mine, we'll see. Those were the cognitive symptoms I've been facing. And now for the emotional ones. I've been feeling depressed and have had a general sense of unhappiness. At times I have had strong anxiety about many things as well. Feeling overwhelmed has been a part of it. There have been many things that I have wanted to be a part of, both on social media and content creating, and I wanted to do it all, instead of realizing that you can't do everything. Loneliness and isolation. Now, these are partly self-inflicted, I've been focusing less and less on my everyday life and more on social media and internet life. So even though I interact with a lot of purely awesome people online, my life took a beating, and it did make me feel very lonely, even if my son is here. And how I dealt with my anxiety and stress when they first started was not a good way to handle it. It became a vicious cycle. Part of my stress came from feeling that I neglected my son a bit while interacting online and not focusing on my real life. So I did what I've always done when I deal with stress. I started playing video games. This also became a thing that prevented me from creating my videos. So I put off making the videos, and when it came down to crunch time, my stress increased. So more video games, which also led to less time with my son. That also led to feeling worse. Many people, both online and in my real life, have said that I don't sound and act like my son. They saw the stress spiral before I did. Had I taken that to heart, I might have broken the spiral before it became too much. Now I have to pick up the pieces and start over. But I'm full of confidence that I will, and that I will become stronger for it. I just need to prioritize my time. Which leads me to what I've decided to do, how to deal with my fucked up head and my issues. And I'm sure that there might be some things here for all of you listening that you can do yourself if you're feeling stressed. Now, being stressed in today's society is easy, mainly because of the fact that we're carrying around our lives in our phones. Everything is there, and we are always accessible and reachable. And people expect instant answers to everything. The other thing that is hard to deal with is when you grow on social media, both on YouTube and on Twitter. You want to have that interaction that you've had all along. And many people expect that you should answer everything at once. Granted, I'm not that big, but I have felt the pull from several directions. And you want to be as interactive as possible, because that is how you grow as a person and a content creator. But you can't please everyone, and you can't do everything on your own, and you can't be a part of everything. So this part of the stress is both external and internal. Wanting to be there for everyone is an internal one, and the external one is all the messages you get, and it's hard to keep up. Just know that if I don't answer you on social media, it's not because I'm a dick or that you aren't worthy of my time. It's just that it has become too much. Right, so finally, how I've decided to deal with my issues. Firstly, I have deleted all my social media apps on my phone, except for YouTube, since I might want to make a video public when I'm not at home. So that one had to stay. All the others are no more. I will therefore only be able to access social media from my PC or my laptop. This will relieve a lot of stress and the feeling of always feeling that you want to answer all the posts and tweets immediately. This will of course mean that it will take some time before I might answer you on social media. But for my mental health, it's necessary. My times for social media will be based partly on my work schedule and when my son is at school. And until he goes to bed, I will do my best to stay away from streams, social media, and games. This will make me feel less like an awful dad, and it will do wonders for my mental health, I think. And of course, that my son gets the time he deserves with me, and he should have. This also goes for the games. Even though it can be a good stress relief, it will only be done when my son is at school or asleep, or if I'm playing with him, of course. I do tend to spend a lot of time editing my videos, so they do take a long time to make. Spreading this out over a longer period of time would be good for me too, so I don't get that crunch time stress. I've also signed up to my gym again. I have not been there for more than a year ever since I broke my collarbone. That made me stop working out, and using your body is also in mental health, so this should be a great help in recovering. Working your body not only releases dopamine in your system, it also gets your mind to stop focusing on all your problems. So, this is what I have been struggling with, and also what I've been planning to do about it. Do you feel that you have any of the issues described in this video? Leave a comment. If you have other ways to relieve stress and anxiety, please let me know in the comments below. Now, seeing relieve stress, I know what the comments will be. But seeing that this is a very serious topic, try to keep the comments serious too if you can. Now wait, scratch that. A good laugh is also good stress relief, so never mind that bit. Be as funny and unserious as you can be in the comments if you feel like it. Now thank you all for listening, and I hope this has given someone something to think about. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. If you want to mirror this video, then let me know in the comments below or on social media. Have a great day, everyone, and take care of yourself.
May the facts be with you, always.